Hello game enthusiasts across all of YouTube. We had another crazy week in video game news, so allow me to recap what happened this week. My name is Christian. Do me a favor, you guys, if you liked the video, go ahead and like that video. Please consider subscribing as it does help me out tons. And with that, let's get into what happened this week in video games. Kicking things off right with the big N, Nintendo. They did drop the Super Mario Bros. Movie this week. And critically, it was kind of a weird thing. I don't think anyone anticipated this movie to be Oscar award winning or anything, but it is currently sitting at a 54% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is horrendous for movies, even for animated movies. But the critics aside, the fans are rejoicing in this movie. A lot of people touting how this is a celebration of video games and how video games are finally making it to like officially in the mainstream. And it's just really exciting to see everyone really hyped up about this movie despite the negative critical reception. With that being said, I haven't actually seen the movie yet. I do plan on seeing it later this week. That way I can have a little bit deeper thoughts onto whether or not this is an actual proper homage to Mario in cinematic form. Keeping on that same talk of Mario, Miyamoto was running the press. He was talking to multiple news outlets, multiple media, and one of the questions that came up was obviously, when can we expect the next Mario game? Miyamoto pretty much replied with, stay tuned to the Nintendo Directs for any upcoming Mario video game news. And people took it two ways. Some people took it as this is PR speak. This is Miyamoto just kind of saying, like, obviously there's a Mario game in production. Other people, however, took this as official confirmation of Nintendo stating that Mario is going to be at the next Nintendo Direct or whatever. As far as me, obviously there's going to be a Mario game in production. Obviously, you know, as long as there's a Nintendo, there's going to be a Mario. It's as long as running video game series mascot essentially, and he's just uber popular. So obviously there's going to be an upcoming Mario game one day. I do, however, think it is interesting that Miyamoto wouldn't just say that there isn't anything planned or, you know, expect something in the future, etc. He was kind of, I think, a little bit more upfront about the fact that we should be expecting it sooner than later. So I do think it is very interesting. I do think it has been a long time since we've seen a proper Mario game. I feel like Mario Odyssey was kind of the last real full-fledged Mario game. So I do think it is time that we get another Mario game. With that being said, it does feel like the Switch is in the end of its life. So whether or not this comes with this current Switch or the next predecessor is yet to be seen. I do think Mario is a great flagship title that you can sell a new console with. So my bet is that it's probably going to be a new Mario game with the next upcoming Switch, probably sometime next year. But fear not, Nintendo fans, because Nintendo did officially announce their next game coming into the Nintendo Switch expansion pass. It is Pokemon Stadium. This is dropping April 12th. If you've never played Pokemon Stadium, it is a phenomenal game. People were, however, very upset with the fact that they weren't going to be able to transfer Pokemons into Pokemon Stadium. For anyone unfamiliar, back in the day when you had like Pokemon Red or Yellow or Blue, you could transfer your Pokemons into the Nintendo 64 Pokemon Stadium game and play your Pokemons versus like your friends' Pokemons, and it was a really cool way to see or to battle out your parties this way. I do thought it was kind of weird that people were mad about that, because seeing as how we don't really have any Pokemon game that would transfer Pokemons into this. With all that being said, the mini games in this game are phenomenal, so definitely check them out. Alright, now let's talk about PlayStation. One of the big conversations around PlayStation lately is that we don't really know what the next phase of PlayStation games are going to be, seeing as Spider-Man 2 is the last like official game coming out, and we still don't even have an official release date of that yet or any solid gameplay of it. But the rumor has it is that there is a PlayStation showcase incoming. Jeff Grubb, who is a journalist for Giant Bomb / leaker of gaming news, did tweet a picture of pretty much all the events that we're going to be expecting this summer, and he had the PlayStation Showcase to be expected before June 8th, which does sound incredibly credible. The summertime, E3 time, not E3 time, is always full and jam-packed with game announcements. So Sony would be really smart to get kind of ahead of that and kind of be the first person really talking about their games and their plans for the next upcoming years. So I'm really excited. I want to hear about some of their titles that they've kind of already announced but haven't really shown much or anything of it. Things like factions, things like Stellar Blade. I kind of want to see what do they have to show from those games. Not to mention, I want to see things I don't know about, like what is Sucker Punch working on? What are Haven Studio working on? What are these studios that you acquired? What are they going to be doing? What is Bungie's place in PlayStation going to be? I feel like right now, currently, Sony fans have a lot of questions, and it's about time PlayStation starts answering some of them. I feel like since the popularity of the Nintendo Switch proved that the handheld portable console market isn't dead yet, tons of people have been asking for Sony to get back into the market with something like a PS Vita 2. But it seems like Sony has a little bit different plans. Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming has stated that Sony PlayStation is currently working on a form of handheld. It's codenamed Q Lite, and this handheld is very interesting as it's not really going to be a standalone handheld. It's more going to be an accessory to the PS5. So it's going to work primarily with remote play. So how that works is you'll be pretty much streaming games from your PS5 to this handheld device, and it'll only work in tandem with the PS5 being on or in rest mode. So I think it's an interesting idea. I don't know where it fits in this market. But if it means Sony is getting their feet back into handheld devices, I'm open for them getting into it. And hopefully next step is like a PS Vita 2 or something. Something that was really cool is SNK announcing King of Fighters 13 Global Match. So this is a PS4 Nintendo Switch version of King of Fighters 13. They're just going to be adding rollback to King of Fighters 13. And if you haven't played King of Fighters 13, this is a phenomenal fighting game. This is by far one of my favorite 2D fighting games. And my favorite King of Fighters game is actually the game that got me really diehard into King of Fighters. So if you haven't ever played King of Fighters 13, definitely check this game out because it is super crazy dope. Continuing the conversation in fighting games, Capcom and Legendary officially announced that a new Street Fighter's live action movie is currently in production and that we should expect more news in the upcoming future. This is super exciting for me. I'm a huge Street Fighters fan. I unironically really liked the old very bad Van Damme movie. I know it's kind of like a cult classic. People like to make fun of it, say it's bad because it's good, but I actually generally do like the movie even though it is really bad cinema. But yeah, I'm just very excited to see what Legendary and Capcom can come out with working together. Street Fighters has tons of great stories they can pull from, tons of great characters. So as long as they get the casting right and the fighting scenes right, then I think it'll be phenomenal. I think as long as they really stray into like really awesome choreographed fight scenes, we really shouldn't have too much to worry about. With that being said, they did say expect more news in the upcoming future. I'm assuming probably come EVO, they're probably going to come out with a full trailer or something. And this movie is probably going to come out either the end of the year or sometime next year. But that's really exciting to see not only Street Fighter 6 coming out, and there's tons of hype for Street Fighter 6, but now a live action representation of Street Fighter is in the works. Definitely awesome to see one of my favorite franchises being represented so full force from Capcom. I feel like Konami has been a long-running meme joke about how they don't make video games anymore and they just make pachinko machines. Konami officially announced that they have a new studio that they opened up in Osaka, and the new studio's mantra is creators first. This has tons of people really excited because it does sound like Konami is finally back in the business of making video games. So hopefully we can see things like a new Castlevania game, new Metal Gear Solids. I know they already have tons of new Silent Hill stuff coming out for the upcoming years to come. So that is really exciting to see Konami finally getting back where they belong and finally where their fans truly want them to be. With that being said, let's see what actually comes of this. Konami's still on shaky grounds for me. I still don't fully trust Konami with stuff like this, but I mean, it is better than them just announcing another pachinko machine. With E3 dead and Jeff Keighley finally at the center of gaming where he's always wanted to be, he has Summer Game Fest coming out, and now he officially announced that Gamescom is also coming. Gamescom opening night is going to kick off in Cologne, Germany, August 22nd. Gamescom is a very interesting showcase, I think. There's never anything too super exciting from Gamescom, I don't think. But there's also never anything terrible, right? Like, more games announcements is always really cool. And Jeff Keighley really does have this way of hyping the hell out of things I don't care about. So he does make even, like, kind of mundane showcases seem kind of really cool or eventful. Especially it is really cool for people in, like, Europe or something that can't really make it out to Summer Games Fest. Have their own event that they can have and they can go to and play new games. So that's really exciting to see. Here's hoping Jeff Keighley can come out with a really solid Gamescom this year, because last year's Gamescom was kind of mid, but he did deliver really great announcements at the Game Awards, and I'm expecting Summer Game Fest to be pretty packed. So here's hoping Gamescom can also deliver with what I'm kind of expecting Jeff Keighley to put on a pretty good show now at this point. The one really big game that I'm looking forward to coming out in April is Star Wars Jedi Survivor. The previews finally dropped for this game, and it's pretty unanimous that this is building on everything that the original set for the franchise at this point. Respawn delivered another phenomenal product from what everyone's saying. They building on everything from the world to the graphics to the storytelling to the combat. Everything just seems like a step above what we've come to expect from Respawn at this point. Something I thought was really cool and really interesting was how people were noting that they're not taking away any powers from Cal Kestis this time, and instead they're giving him more power. So you have everything that you ended Jedi Fallen Order with, plus you're just going to be gaining new stuff, so you're just going to probably end Jedi Survivor as this really badass Jedi. And again, I love Jedi Fallen Order. I can't wait for Jedi Survivors, and these previews just got me way more hyped for April 28th. Keeping on topic with video game previews, Minecraft Legends just dropped their previews, and again, the response has been pretty positive throughout. I'm not a big Minecraft fan, but some of the people, the way they were talking about this, definitely hyped this game up. If you guys are unfamiliar with Minecraft Legends, this is kind of a real-time strategy PvP game set in the Minecraft world. Again, I'm not a huge Minecraft fan, but I do adore real-time strategy games, so might check this game out. I'll probably see reviews and maybe check out some streamers, see if I'm really interested in this game. But yeah, those are all our news topics for this week. If you guys like what you see, consider subscribing. We're going to be doing this every week. Just some quick recap of some of the video game news. That way you guys can stay updated on what's currently going on in video games. Check you guys out in the next video.